can you tell me, what is your psychiatric disability?
Schizophrenia.
Okay, and Michael?
The same.
And Michael, can you tell me, what is schizophrenia? I think a lot of people have a hard time kind of deciphering what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very old word. It's from ancient Greek, meaning a split in the mind, which has been discredited, and these days it's rather seen as either chemical imbalance or a thought disorder. So not necessarily a split personality as was perceived before.
Okay, and when were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed at the end of 1996.
Okay, how old were you?
I was 28 at the time.
So what did it feel like before you were diagnosed?
Well, you know, by the time one has to have a diagnosis, things are pretty bad usually. And so, you know, that was the beginning of the journey of recovery, you know, and that's been a long road for me.
Okay. And Oscar, can you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Well, my journey was rocky at first. They made me an assistant branch manager of a gym company, and I was functioning fully until I had a nervous breakdown, and all of a sudden you cannot cope with the stress at that level. You notice there is a change, something is wrong somewhere, and the thing that you are scared of is going to find out by a doctor that it's something wrong with your mind. And like I said before, because of the stigma, you grow up knowing the stigma, being part of the stigma, and that happens to you.
Yeah.
And you're in the situation, I refuse to believe there is something wrong here. But eventually you have to face it. To move ahead, you have to face it.
And what made you face it?
Well, I didn't want to stay down in my life.
Yeah.
I did eventually find help. I was admitted to C23 at Grootsteer. I eventually landed up at Valkenburg, and I've had an onward journey of life since I left there. That was also about a year before Mike, around the end of 95.
Okay.
I was hospitalized.
Ingrid, do you find people are often afraid to seek help?
Often. We find that this to be the biggest problem.
Yeah.
If people can recognize the initial onset of symptoms that they're concerned about, because there's a clear change that starts to take place. Change in mood, change in cognitive ability, change in thought processes, change in behavior. I mean, people start to identify that there's something different from the way they were before. Seek help. It's absolutely fine, because the earlier the diagnosis, the sooner we can intervene, and the better the prognosis as well, as in Michael and Oscar's case, and in the majority of cases of people diagnosed with a psychiatric condition. It's pretty bad by the time they are seeing a professional to assist them with the symptoms and the condition, and by this stage family members are very concerned about the change in behavior, the change in mood, and sometimes the isolation as well that goes with it. And often by this stage, when it's this bad, people have lost their jobs, or they're having difficulty relating to others. And so our message is a clear one. The minute you know or feel different, be it that you're feeling a bit depressed and that it's ongoing, it's not getting better, and there are additional symptoms that are different from what you've experienced before, our recommendation is seek help. Go to your general practitioner or contact an organization such as Cape Mental Health, and we would be able to support and guide people in terms of the appropriate health facilities or persons that should be contacted to assist individuals to really understand what's happening to them, and with knowledge of what they're experiencing and what it relates to, one also diminishes the fear that people may have. And so our advice is to encourage people to seek help the minute they feel that, you know, things are not, or the emotions that they're experiencing are not the same as what they've had before. And invariably, in most cases, there's a precipitating factor. There may have been a loss in the family. There may have been difficulties with employments, finances. Often there are are
Triggering
triggering events. In other cases, there's a family history, but in most cases, there are triggers.